Hello, and welcome to PATLITE Tech Tips Live. My name is Daisy, and I will be your host today. So we have a new product from PATLITE. We have the new WIO series. So WIO is a new wireless control alert system. And we'll be going over to that today and how it works, how you can use it, and we'll have a live demonstration. To start things off, don't you hate it when you don't notice someone sneaking up on you? Where did that forklift come from? To answer that question, we'll be going into a deeper dive of the WIO and how it works. WIO is the new member of the LR family. It is, in a nutshell, an LR6 with wireless control, but it's not a regular LR6. It is a transmitter-receiver combo, meaning they will not work without each other. You need the transmitter to have the full effect of the receiver, and the receiver to get the full functionality of the transmitter. Some part number breakdowns. We have the transmitter base, WIO-B1T, T for transmitter, and that is just the transmitter base. There are no LED units attached to it. And then we have the receiver base, WIO-B1R, R for receiver, and leaving it as a blank at the end is just the receiver base with no LED modules coming with it. But if you add the RYG at the end, it'll come with the red, amber, and green modules. Then we have a separate WIO kit. This is WIO-B1S-001. This comes with the transmitter base, the receiver base, one red, one green, one amber LED module, and one power supply unit. And there is a new power supply and new bracket that also released with the WIO. We have the power supply ADP-001C, and that C is for this extra cable that comes with it. It comes with pre-tinned flying leads that can just attach into the WIO for a faster setup. Then we have the new mounting base, the SZW-003W, and this has some openings on the back so you can feed your cable into the WIO. Gives it a cleaner look. Now I mentioned that it is part of the LR6 sort of family line, so it is compatible with other LR6 modules, including the LED modules like LR6-E-R, and that goes for the red module. Then we have the amber, green, blue, and white. It is also compatible with the more clear lens modules, and those have just a Z at the end, so LR6-E-RZ. And these clear lens modules are just white when they are sort of just installed, and they are only colored when they are activated. It's also compatible with the multicolor module, LR6-E-MZ. And these are 7 colors in one module. And to get all 7 colors, it's through binary wiring between the red, green, and blue wires to get all 7 colors. It is also compatible with the LR6-BW buzzer module, or also known as the buzzer/flasher module. And this just gives you the option to not only have a separate buzzer sound, but also to activate the internal flashing function on the transmitter for the WIO series. There are also some previous LR brackets that are also compatible with WIO system, including SZK-003W, SZW-001W, and SZW-002W. Now it's not just surface brackets or direct mount brackets, it is also a pole mount compatible. Some of you may have noticed by now on the screen, there are 2 SZP-003Ws. Normally this is just a surface mount for the pole mount, but for the WIO, if you take one SCP-003 and then rotate it 180 degrees, it becomes the upper bracket for the WIO transmitter and receiver. And that makes it compatible with the LR pole, the pole 22. Now these poles do come in various lengths. They come in 100, 300, 500, 800, and 1000 millimeter lengths. And depending on if you have it threaded on one end or non-threaded, it'll be compatible with different brackets. So for example, you can take a second SZP-003W and use it with a pole 22 AN for non-threaded, and you have your surface mount, pole mount. Or if you take a threaded bracket, threaded pole 22-AT, then it becomes compatible with the L bracket SZL-001. So how does this all work together? Like, why is this WIO? So here we have a quick breakdown of it. We have the PATLITE NE-M1ATB-M. This can be wired into the WIO transmitter base. And on the receiver end, we have the SF08-M1JN-R. So on the NE, it has a built-in touch sensor that not only changes the color from red to green when touched. If it's wired into the transmitter base, it also gives the transmitter the signal to turn on like a red light. Then that transmitter sends a signal over to the receiver. The receiver then mirrors that red light on function, and because the SF is also wired into the receiver, it also then turns on. Putting it all together, put the touch the NE, changes from green to red, sends the signal over to the receiver, turns on the beacon. So going back to that forklift example, if you have, let's say, a sort of motion sensor beam or a sensor wired into the WIO transmitter, when that beam is crossed by the forklift, AGV, or whatever heavy equipment, let's say a perpendicular pedestrian access point, can have the receiver on the other end. So so AGV breaks the beam, gives the signal to the transmitter. That transmitter then sends the signal to the receiver, and if you have something like the PATLITE LKEH, then the horn will also activate, giving a audible cue to any pedestrians like AGV crossing, please wait. Or something like for door security systems, so in a warehouse or even in an office, if you have this one faraway door that is not in line of sight, how do you know if someone's there? If you have like a switch or button on the outside and the transmitter on the inside, when that switch is wired into the transmitter, then that transmitter sends a signal to the receiver on the other side of the room, turns on an audible sound like an EHV, letting them know like, hey, someone is at the door, and that will keep playing until someone gets the door. So let's say you have that warehouse. You're not just 100 meters away. You can be up to 400 meters away. So with the WIO, the transmitter receiver have a 100-meter distance between them, but that can go up to 400 meters with the additional receivers in between. And now these receivers act as a sort of relay or repeater function to increase the distance from not just the 100 meters, goes up to 400 meters. So let's say you have concrete walls in your warehouse facility, and that can interfere with the signal. So by strategically placing these relay repeaters on like every corner of the doors, you can have full communication between transmitter on one side and the final receiver on the other side. And this is all done through just hardware. There is no software needed for the WIO. it is through dip switches and different wiring that you can have all this functionality. You can wire in additional PATLITE units, additional sensors or switches. Just like we have in this demo sample. So on the right, I have the WIO receiver with the red, amber, green, blue, and white modules. And it is attached to the SCK003 base, as you can see here. And on the back, I have my power wires coming out, and I have an additional beacon connected into the receiver end. On the transmitter side, I also have the red, amber, green, blue, and white modules, as well as some flying leads coming out, and a relay connected to this motion sensor. So powering on the motion sensor. If I take a box and cover that sensor, that sends a signal to the transmitter base, or it closes a contact on the transmitter base, and also turns on the red light. Then that signal is sent to the receiver. The receiver mirrors that red light turning on, and also turns on the beacon because I have the beacon wired into the contact output of the red light, so it also turns on at the same time. And one more time. Then separately, I have some flying leads here, and this will turn on the amber light on the WIO transmitter, and same thing, WIO receiver also mirrors that amber light, and I have a different pattern going on to the beacon as well. It does not have to be flying leads, it can be a switch, anything that has a contact closure really. And a very quick very high-level glance at the WIO-B1T and WIO-B1R. They have an input voltage of 12 to 24 volt DC. Now the transmitter does not have the output voltage, but the receiver unit does, and it outputs up to a max of 30 volts DC. That's how I'm able to power up the beacon from just connecting it to the WIO receiver. On the transmitter side, I have 7 inputs, which are for the 5 LED colors: red, amber, green, blue, and white. Then I have buzzer input and a separate contact input. The transmitter does not have any physical outputs, it just outputs the Bluetooth signal to the receiver end. And the receiver has the inverse of the transmitter. It has one input for a clear button, and that clear button can be something to like turn off the audible sound once you enter the door, so you can tell it to stop announcing that the door is open until the next time it's triggered. And it also has the 6 outputs, which is for the 5 LEDs, red, amber, green, blue, and white, as well as a separate contact. So it can be an additional beacon or anything really that has just a contact closure. The transmitter and receiver have both IP65 rating, as well as NEMA Type 4X 13 rating. It uses the Bluetooth 5.0 communication standard with the listed frequency ranges there. And it has a distance of 100 meter communication between one transmitter and one receiver, and it does go up to 400 when you have the additional receiver units. And if you want more PATLITE tech tips, more information, we do post regularly on our social media channels. We post regularly on our LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. If you would be so kind as to follow us for more information. And then other resources, for any sales inquiries, you can always reach sales@patlite.com. And for other technical questions, you can always reach out technical@patlite.com. And for more tutorials available 24/7, as long as you have access to YouTube, you can find more tutorial videos here on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@PATLITEUSA. Thank you for watching, and please feel free to reach out to technical@PATLITEUSA with any additional questions, and I hope you have a great day.